It's almost as if they desire some negative result for the Bahamas by what they say, by what is printed on a day-to-day basis.
Minister Hope Strawn on the much-talked-about emails. ZNS News with the latest. Also,
the rollout of the National Health Insurance Scheme officially delayed by at least 6 months. We'll bring you all the details coming up in the Bahamas Tonight.
And then find out the verdict in the murder trial. Also, vendors with full access to Cabbage Beach today, but that access could wash out with the tide tomorrow. We've got the latest. Then, smoke washes over residents. Could arson be to blame for the dump dilemma? ZNS News with the latest on the combustion catastrophe. The Bahamas Tonight, the national report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Good Wednesday evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings.
And I'm Charisma Robinson.
For weeks, the country has been enthralled with the details of a civil suit involving billionaire American hedge fund manager Nygard-Bacon and Canadian fashion designer Peter Nygard, alleging a sinister murder-for-hire plot.
The two have been embroiled in more than a decade-old battle, originating with environmental concerns posed by Nygard's Lyford Key home.
Well, this latest chapter has led to the resignation of Free National Movement Chairman and Senator Michael Pintard and has cast a light on campaign funding. Cleopatra Murphy was tasked with reading the documents and provides us with this breakdown.
Two investigators allegedly hired by fashion mogul Peter Nygard to kill his billionaire neighbor Nygard-Bacon and directors of Save the Bay's environmental group allege that Deputy Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Brave Davis told them to record a meeting with Save the Bay's investigators and former Free National Movement Chairman Michael Pintard to see if they were doing anything illegal. They also say he suggested involving police. The admission is contained in a second affidavit released by the Save the Bay's investigator, John DePaulo, who says it was edited from the duo's affidavit with Nygard lawyers, where Whistler Bobo de Vilma and Livingston Toggy Bullard Jr. say they went along with the plan because they did not want to lose government contracts valued at more than $100,000 annually. In his March 23rd affidavit, DePaulo says, explaining why the men for the third time have changed their tune, Mr. Bullard and Mr. De Vilma in a statement dated March 15, 2016, informed us that they each have numerous lucrative government contracts for maintenance, landscaping, hurricane cleanup, etc., which they have had since 2012. Their combined roadside cleaning and graveyard maintenance contracts alone are worth approximately $11,000 per month or $132,000 per year. This adds a new chapter to the ongoing Nygard-Bacon saga, in which the men allege in sworn affidavits accompanying a lawsuit filed in the Supreme Court on March 9th that Nygard was the mastermind behind planned hits on those opposed to planned developments to his property, Nygard Key. Allegedly on that list are Bacon, Fred Smith, Romuald Ferreira, Joseph Darville, and Reverend C.B. Moss, who is not a part of Save the Bays. The lawsuit is supported by secret recordings of Nygard with De Vilma and Bullard, in which they ask Nygard who he wants them to kill. The duo also allege they were paid by Nygard to organize anti-Bacon marches. They retracted the claims in sworn affidavits dated March 24, 2015, released by Nygard's team. Bullard's document alleges at the initial meeting with Bacon's investigators, they were told, once we give false evidence, they will pay us the money, which amounted to an initial payment of $50,000. De Vilma further alleges that Pintard, who was present during a payment at the British Colonial Hilton, said, "You never seen me. I wasn't a part of this."
Evidence is going to be provided. As evidence is provided, money is exchanged. That's the agreement. I understand you provided a lot of information already.
In a September 3, 2015 affidavit, De Vilma and Bullard allege they gave Davis a cell phone recording of that meeting, which he said he would discuss with the Prime Minister. He suggested Bacon's team may do anything to get what they want, Nygard may need their help, and was being targeted because he supports the PLP. De Vilma and Bullard also allege they contacted Nygard, who flew them to Canada and paid them $40,000 for affidavits, where their responses were coached. They further allege Nygard's lawyers doctored their affidavits to omit Davis because they didn't want him affiliating. Filed with DePaulo's affidavits are notes from the Burton Copeland law firm stating that DeVilma and Bullard, referred to as the twins, were playing both sides. That in mind, it suggested anything and everything they say, unless corroborated by other evidential material, must be regarded as doubtful to rely upon. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
International resident Peter Nygard filed a lawsuit in the Supreme Court Tuesday against the Save the Bays organization, American philanthropist and Life for Key resident Louis Bacon, attorney Fred Smith QC, Tribune newspaper publisher Eileen Karen, former senator and Free National Movement chairman Michael Pintard, Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, trustees of the Free National Movement, and others whom he said in the writ conspired to damage his reputation and publicizing its claims with full knowledge that it was based on false evidence. In a press release issued by a California-based public relations firm on Nygard's behalf, the fashion mogul seeks damages to be determined by the court and an injunction restraining the defendants from libeling him further. He also seeks to disgorge any profits the defendants derived from participating in the conspiracy to injure him. The complaint claims that the defendants abused the processes of the Supreme Court by filing a lawsuit on March 9th, quote, without any faith in the merits of the action and well knowing that the said action was found on perjury, close quote. Nygard's release stated that the March 9th lawsuit filed against Mr. Nygard and his attorney, Coach Smith, by Save the Bays, its founder, Louis Bacon, Chairman Fred Smith, and directors, including Romuald Ferreira and Joseph Darville, as well as Reverend C.B. Moss, falsely alleges that Mr. Nygard and Coach Smith plotted crimes against Mr. Bacon, Fred Smith, Reverend Moss, and Tribune business editor Neil Hartnell, and hired 2 convicted criminals to carry them out. The release continued that Mr. Nygard and Attorney Smith vigorously denied the allegations and released statements sworn under oath by the 2 convicted criminals who are the main witnesses in the suit. In their sworn statements filed with the court earlier this month, the 2 criminals say they were paid by Louis Bacon and his operatives to provide false evidence against Mr. Nygard. The release says the 2 criminals were paid between $3 and $5 million, and that's according to additional evidence submitted to the court by Mr. Nygard. Now, this latest action names law firm Calendars & Co. and Turks and Caicos-based law firm Karam and Missick as defendants, as evidence, according to Nygard's lawsuit, shows the firms were conduits for the transfer of funds to the 2 criminals. As previously mentioned, the defendants listed in the lawsuit are the Tribune Limited's publisher and editor Eileen Karen, Tribune business editor Neil Hartnell, as well as former F&M chairman and Senator Michael Pintard, whom Nygard said in the lawsuit resigned after disclosure by the 2 criminals in their sworn statements that he had orchestrated an initial payoff to them on behalf of Louis Bacon of $50,000 in cash, and F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who Nygard claims abused the high office of leader of the opposition and the processes of Parliament on March 13th. Nygard's press release concluded that Louis Bacon's wife, Gabrielle, who is trustee of the Moore Charitable Foundation, is also named as a defendant in the writ, as is the Moore Bahamas Foundation and former Save the Bays director, Diane Phillips.
The Free National Movement taken issue with remarks made by 2 cabinet ministers with regards to the whole Nygard and Bacon saga and the emails released in Parliament. The F&M feels statements by the 2 ministers can have chilling effects on the investment climate and the financial services industry. While responding to this today was the Financial Services Minister, who set the record straight. Clint Watson has that story.
Free National Movement Deputy Leader Peter Trinquest says anyone who has been engaged in financial services at any level understands the sensitive nature of that business and the need for complete confidence in the professionals engaged and the jurisdiction to protect their confidentiality and the privacy of clients. He says the unwise statements by the Minister of Education, Science and Technology and the Minister of Foreign Affairs is particularly inappropriate and harmful to our jurisdiction, its international financial services reputation and freedoms. But Financial Services Minister Hope Strawn disagrees.
I'm not sure that there has been a breach of confidentiality, so to speak. We do not know the facts surrounding how the emails came to be in the possession of the minister. I'm not defending it one way or the other, but unless and until we know those facts, I fail to see how we could say that it will affect the sector unless we know that there was some breach of confidentiality.
Minister Strawn says to date there has been no concern reported to her related to this issue from professionals in the sector regarding breach of confidentiality. She believes the opposition wants to see the sector suffer.
It's almost as if they desire some negative result for the Bahamas by what they say and by what is printed on a day-to-day basis. And so it makes that job that much challenging for us to go out into the international community, because we then have to defend against these things that are said, and things that are said sometimes without any basis in fact. The factual circumstances that exist today is that nobody knows, other than those persons who had those emails, how they came by them. And it may have been come by just by someone simply copying it and giving it to them.
The minister maintains that the sector is well regulated, compliant, and respected internationally.
We have implemented FATCA for exchange of information with the United States, the IRS. We have committed ourselves to an automatic exchange of information and the Common Reporting Standard, which is scheduled for 2018, and the work is ongoing in that respect. I believe that internationally we are known to be a premier financial center. We, to date, have not found that we have been in any way affected by what is happening here on the ground in the Bahamas.
Minister Strawn further states that she will not be distracted from her ministry's mandate of promoting the sector internationally.
Investors in this country can feel confident that we are safeguarding their information. They can feel confident that we are going to do everything in our power to protect their confidentiality. And those who choose on a day-to-day basis to spread negative information about this jurisdiction, for whatever their personal reasons may be, that's on them. I'm going to do my job.
Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
On to another story this Wednesday. The Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Perry Gomez, speaking on the possible health scare at the Princess Margaret Hospital on the weekend and the death of public servant Patty Miller. Dr. Gomez says the necessary tests are being carried out and in short order, the results will be revealed.
I don't think the case was Ebola at all. But we have to go through the process to concretely deny it, prove that it's not that. The epidemiology just isn't right. You don't get Ebola on casual contact, and so the lady visited South Africa, which has never had Ebola. So you don't. It is so remote that you'll get Ebola on a plane. You follow me? And just so it just doesn't fit. As an infectious disease specialist, that's my considered opinion, and so we will know in another day or two.
A contract signed for construction of a community clinic in Grand Bahama, but the news coming out of that contract signing is about national health insurance. Janelle Noel Ferguson reports.
Health Minister Dr. Perry Gomez confirming today that the rollout for primary care, a part of the National Health Insurance Scheme, has officially been delayed. This after overwhelming objection to what many, including those in the insurance industry and medical profession, considered a fast-paced initiative.
As you know, it's been delayed. It'll be several months. I'm not sure exactly how long, but probably in around 6 months or so.
Though advised by local professionals and others with vested interest in NHI that the rollout was too soon, the health minister said the decision to delay the program was heavily based on recommendations made by the hired consultants.
The hiring of the new consultants played a big role in it, and having the expertise of the team we now have, the KPMG. The delay is was directly related to their presence and advice.
His comments came during a contract signing for a master plan and architectural drawing of a new community clinic for Grand Bahama. It's expected that it will reduce the load at the Rand Memorial Hospital. Estimated at $2.6 million, the contract does not include the cost of its construction. Now, company officials and Minister for Grand Bahama also in attendance.
The new Freeport Community Clinic will be the first phase of the new tertiary healthcare facility promised to the people of Grand Bahama, which is clearly outlined in the healthcare master plan for the island of Grand Bahama and the northern region.
We're decreasing the experience for the person who has a very quick need but can't get the kind of care they need in a efficient amount of time. We are discouraging them actually for taking care of these basic needs, which when prolonged become much more problematic and much more expensive to treat.
The Beck Group, also responsible for the design and planning of the critical care block, Beck will also facilitate a plan for a refurbished Princess Margaret Hospital.
Now we're focused on how do we redevelop the entire facility, and so we're going to, we're not prepared to put that on the table now, but we're in the next month, we'll make our recommendations to the government in terms of the phases and how we go about that. So we hope that that is also imminent.
Now, groundbreaking for the new Grand Bahama Clinic will take place this September. As for legislation on NHI, Dr. Gomez said many bills are before the House and he was unsure of when it will be tabled. Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.